noticed you play way too high resi, I would say. Like, how often do people go you? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you should play, since you don't have more PV gear, you wanna gem more aggressively on spell power.
Okay.
You can see my screen, right?
Yeah. So gem.
Just here. Yeah.
So
So
put
like,
like Rune Dragon's Eyes in the.
39 spell on the Mystic one, and then on the yellow one you put the 12 SP 10 resi,
Okay.
and then you could put. Do you play twos or as well? It's kind of edge when you play twos, because if you don't play twos, you can put like change the gems even on the main pieces.
No,
But
I
if
don't
you
play.
only play threes,
I don't play twos. Mainly play threes.
yeah, just put 12 spell power, 5 MP5 on the blue ones, and
Okay.
same here. Here you put the durable one, 12 spell power, 10 resi. Same with hit this.
Okay.
Same with this. Just go like when I play TC, I play like, if I blind queue, like without knowing what's in queue, I play like 850 resi, something like this.
Okay.
If I know there's like teams that like go me a lot, I put like 1k resi. And if I know that there's teams that never go me, I drop down all the way to like 600 resi.
Okay.
Because I have like, it's harder for you because you're in horde. Harder for you to go that low resi.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But you don't have a PV cloak or neck at all, I guess.
Yeah.
Bit unfortunate. So you have to like gem differently.
Yeah.
Like ideally you wanna have like 277 neck, 288 cloak, like full 288 gear. And
Yeah.
then you abuse the fact that your gear is like high item level, and then you gem full resi.
Gotcha.
But in your case, just gem more spell power.
Okay. I
The
can do that.
haste is a bit low as well, but it's not too low. Like I like to have at least 600 haste, because have you noticed how acid is when warlocks put like curse of tongues on you
Yeah.
against
It's really
LSP
it's.
or LSD? It's like
Yeah. It's
it's
it's.
like unbearable. Your global is so fucking long, cannot dispel anything, and then it's like a snowball effect. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
enough of the gear, I guess. I will drop it though. First game, let me find the timestamps. 12:39. Now, as a team, what you want to do against jungle is, I haven't watched these games by the way, but as a team, what you want to do against jungle is you want to go feral and you want to play really aggressive. I will play stun seal against jungle,
Okay.
and on opener, what they do, at least against me, this team, is let's actually see what they do against you before I say anything.
We get wrecked, bro.
Uh, they usually like scatter the ele and then trap the ele, and by the time the trap goes on ele, they come and clone you. Or they just clone you insta. You want to trinket always first.
Okay.
Let me just tell you what you want to do. So you want to go feral. You want to play stun seal, and you want to red judge as much as possible. But obviously that's when you're ahead, and you want to spam your CDs. You want to play very aggressive with CDs. You trinket
Okay.
first. You can even big sack early. Your ele wants to last early, and you want to just get pressure on the feral, because if the feral gets to play the game, he's just gonna rotate clones on you, warrior, and ele, right? And
Yeah.
then you just can never generate any pressure.
Yeah.
You need to get ahead on pressure. And when the feral runs behind pillar, he will run behind pillar when you get pressure. You want to hit the pet. If you kill the pet, the game becomes a lot easier. And whenever feral comes back, you instantly need to go back on pet. Also, tell your warrior to intercept the feral whenever he can, just to like slow down the game on opener.
Okay.
But yeah, Palapov, just don't hesitate to throw your CDs early.
Okay.
Like instantly trinket this first clone. Maybe not actually, because usually they scatter and trap your L same time. If your L is scattered and trapped same time, then you definitely want to trinket this clone,
Okay.
just so you don't fall behind. Here you could make a case that you don't trinket, but then you need to tell your warrior to insta block, right?
Yeah.
Which he doesn't. So you need to either choose to tell your warrior to block insta, or you trinket.
Okay.
Since they didn't CC your L, they usually just cross CC always. You should actually sit this and tell your warrior to block. I like the big sack. By the way, on your UI, is this the only place where you can see big sack? I don't know if you see my chat.
No, no, it's well, it actually should be on my main.
I feel like it should be here.
Yeah,
I noticed like they were like all the important shit except big sack.
It usually is. I don't know why it's not showing there. But
Uh,
it usually
yeah,
is.
no.
I could change that though. I'll check and change it.
Yeah, it's gonna help you. Just something I noticed.
Yeah.
Like your best CD type of thing. Your whole team is just playing too slow here. Like your LA should trinket this clone as well, and just because like you need to tell your LA this is your LA needs to carry this matchup. He needs to get the feral clean ASAP, like down to 0 buffs, which means he's able to purge the procs easily, when as the feral gets the procs. But if the feral is like stacked on fucking random buffs and shit from the priest, he will just clone your team, like clone this guy, clone that guy, clone
Yeah.
you. You know what I mean? Like it's all about the Predator swiftness, the fucking proc from feral, and then your warrior just needs to blast him. No, your warrior wasn't too happy about the bop. Also, this is general tip against hunters in general. The way you want to usually pop against hunters, unless if you have to, obviously, sometimes you have to pop, but whenever they pop readiness and then they press their aim shot on after readiness, you usually want to pop like there.
Okay.
Because if you pop before readiness, they're just going to readiness and put new aim shot instantly.
Okay.
Like pop usually you want to use just to remove like a completely fresh aim shot.
Okay.
Aim shot. So when you see like when you see readiness or aim shot in general on your warrior, you just pop right after that.
Okay.
It's like useless to pop if the guy has like aim shot in 2 seconds because you're not gonna get any pressure or tempo with it. They're
Yeah.
just gonna purge it and put a new aim shot.
Yeah. That's yeah.
And in these situations, like you just want to freedom your warrior and you want to go red judge the feral, right? To
Yeah.
try to keep the pressure. And if you cannot, then just go pet. It's a waste of time to go hunter. I feel like before pet is dead. Hunter will never die if pet is alive because you have Ross, freedom, intervene. Yeah, just press freedoms very aggressively. Like whenever you see like your warrior even like a little bit struggling against jungle, just send freedom.
Okay.
But red judgment, you need to keep it up as well, if
Okay.
possible. Like whenever you're next to feral or like in between globals, because otherwise, like it's a matchup of like tempo. Like if your team falls behind and you don't have pressure, you cannot win the matchup. They're just gonna like keep. It's like a snowball effect.
Yeah.
If they play from ahead, they will keep getting more ahead,
Yeah.
in a sense. Was this the only matchup you have against jungle on the board, or do you have more matchups against the team?
There's more. There's more.
Okay, let's
Um,
skip to the next game then, so I can revisit the jungle matchup more on a different game. This should be easy matchup for some reason. Oh, it's Shadow. Never mind. Well, I was gonna say it should be easy matchup if it's Disc.
we were
Now with that is
we were
Shadow.
like 2-2 against this team.
Yeah.
The
Well, now
warrior
it
like
should be even easier.
soloed me.
Yeah. So what you wanna do against this team? Same against, by the way, against Disc. I don't know if you ever face like a Disc holy polar, like a double healer. You just tunnel the warrior. If their warrior goes your warrior just like runs somewhere middle of the map. He like baits the warrior middle of the map, and your Ela just 1 2 3, 1 2 3, and he just hex the priest on CD.
Okay.
Same tactic applies against Aspi, and same tactic applies against Olipala. Later, you can go Aspi after he has dispersed, because at some point he's gonna naturally. He's gonna have to disperse for mana, and after that you can go Aspi. You
Yeah.
can hard swap on him. But in the start of the game, you definitely want to go warrior, and you want to hex the Aspi on CD. And in the start of the game, your Ele wants to kick the Aspi on CD just so you don't like fall behind an opener. Your goal is to get ahead. So
Yeah.
your Ele stops the dots from Aspi, and he also hexes him for trinket, and then next text is going to be full, and then you can last, and then you just completely run them over, right? Because he cannot purge the last. But this type of rule almost always applies. If warrior is going your team needs to go warrior, almost against almost any comp that there is, because especially when you're going to drop resi, which you should drop resi. You're playing a bit too high resi for threes. You're just going to get soloed by warrior, even if the Asp is not doing anything on you. You'll get soloed.
Yeah. My team was telling me that, oh, you should live. You shouldn't die that quick.
Nah, you will die. Trust. Just tell them like
Yeah.
you will die. You heard it from like
Yeah.
someone. You will die. Like
Yeah.
it's you cannot like okay. You can survive a warrior on your own, but it's not guarantee, right?
Yeah.
It depends on if he crits, if you crit, blah blah blah. But on average, you will die the warrior alone, right?
Okay.
So it's always the correct play to like go warrior
Okay.
if the warrior's
That's what
on
I
you.
thought.
Unless if you're like so far ahead that you will kill the guy as the warrior goes you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you can trade your bubble to kill the guy. But on opener, obviously that's not the case, right? You're
Yeah.
not gonna trade a kill for a bubble. You're not gonna get a kill on the Aspie. He's just gonna disperse or he's gonna get bopped or something, and you're gonna have the bubble for free.
My war doesn't disarm there. 8 of full blade storm.
Yeah, not the most fortunate. This matchup is really simple, really easy. Just ignore the Aspie. Like you don't have to go on the Aspie. Just have your Ela kick him on CD, hex him on CD, and then you just blast the warrior. And if the warrior is going on you, you just bring him behind pillar, right? He dies.
Yeah.
And then if you're actually still dying, you just press freedom and run around the corner, right?
Yep.
He cannot chase you. Like you're gonna get away. Your warrior can intercept the guy, or you can get a knock or whatever. But this is just a tactical error from your team. Because this matchup is supposed to be like super, super easy. You should win at least 8 out of 10 games. Let's say 9 out of 10 games. You know, there's always a margin of error, but very simple matchup. If you play it differently. No. Yeah, just next time you face this team, try go warrior. If the warrior goes you, you just bring him behind pillar, you freedom away if you're still taking damage. If you're not taking damage, you can just like AFK and make the enemy warrior line his pala, right?
Yeah, like if
You don't have to like
if
time it
Shadow,
and get away.
it wasn't like it wasn't really the warrior that killed me. It was like the Shadow Priest
I
that
know, I know, I know.
like
But it's like the fact that like you have mortal on you, you have rend on you,
yeah,
you know.
exactly. Yeah,
It's like
so many dots.
yeah, like you're fully marinated, you know, like
Yeah,
this will never happen if the Aspi is just trying to solo you without mortal or rend and shit, you know.
yeah,
You're not gonna die to Aspi solo. You just
yeah,
die because the warrior is like sitting on your ass all game, right? And
yeah,
eventually you just die. That's just how it works.
yeah,
Combined with Aspi dots, yeah, even has dots on you, so
yeah.
nothing you can really do. You just do another.
Okay. No, it's good. That's good to know. I appreciate it because like
Yeah,
my team is like, no, you should be able to live. Like we want to. I'm like, dude. I
no,
tried saying
we cannot
something
live.
and like asking him and like, yeah,
Because it's like because they're used to like twos. Like in twos, you can kind of tank warrior for a bit, right? Because you play like 1.4 Reke, 1.350 Resi, and you
yeah,
it's only warrior on you. But now it's like a SP spamming purge on you, putting dots on you. You're just gonna die. Like
yeah,
there's no way around it. You
yeah,
will die. And also, there's no reason for you to go SP your team. It's super simple because it's so easy to hex the SP on CD. Like every 40 seconds, you get full hex,
yeah.
and eventually he's gonna trinket hex. Usually they just trinket on opener, and also your warrior can fear the SP as well. You can fear and hex the spam. Fear on CD on SP, hex on CD on SP, and the first CC you get full, you just press last, and you get like the most fucking pressure ever,
You got it. All
and
right,
they're gonna
cool,
get like stumped. Uh,
nice. I'll tell him.
yeah. Same applies against disc version as well. I've seen like on NA for some reason all the TCs lose to disc luckily, which shouldn't happen. We were like coaching the other day, like a
Just like
Chinese
fight,
warrior, and
just
we
like
faced a
fight war and like fight the warrior in the middle, and then
yeah, yeah. So because usually what happens is when you go warrior, the enemy warrior is forced to go your warrior, right? So your warrior has to like slowly bait the warrior to the middle of the map. So your Ele can keep doing a 1, 2, 3, you know, like lightning bolt, lightning bolt. Because if the enemy warrior is lining your Ele, it can be difficult, right?
yeah,
This is like a game of like baiting the enemy warrior come to middle when the enemy warrior is hitting your warrior, which will happen because let's say the enemy warrior is on you and you just run around the pillar, you know, you're either gonna get away or the enemy warrior is gonna die because he's lining his own healers, right? So he has to swap to your warrior, but at this point your warrior needs to like kind of make sure your Ele can always pump.
okay.
Uh, at this matchup, wait,
That's
is
a
this
that's a
LSD or
boomkin.
pumpkin?
That's a
Yeah,
boomkin.
there's a pumpkin restaurant. Okay, what I've noticed on this season is you can play a slow game. You know, you could go lock, you could go bumpkin, you could go kill pets. But what I've been doing every single game, especially if we coach a lot of warriors, like me and Torsten on LF, we coach a lot of warriors. We just send it on the fucking shaman because on this patch, this comp doesn't have any pills, like real pills for playstorm or anything. So once you get like rend mortal, you just playstorm the shaman and send insta lava, and he dies 9 out of 10 games.
I like it.
So if you're struggling against this team, I suggest you just all in the shaman every game.
Okay.
Like your Ele holds EM until your warrior gets the blade off, and he needs to get a good blade. By the way, don't make him like do shit blade. Like rend, mortal, maybe get the shaman to like 70%, you know, and then good blade. They don't
Okay.
have any pills for the blade, no disarm, nothing,
Yep.
and then he just dies. 9 out of 10 games, he dies.
Okay. I like it.
I'm guessing you're trying to go closest target. You can do this, but it can be difficult for sure if you're like trying to like dampen them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm guessing you're gonna dampen them because your team said hit the closest target. Uh, yeah, you big sack. Nice. It's like this comp kind of does no damage outside of Starfall. So
Yeah.
Starfall is like triple damage. Outside of Starfall, not that much damage, right? So you definitely want to always like big sack, especially on Lust and Starfall. I like that you're tracking both. Uh, Also, if things are not going your way, by the way, against these Resto Shaman spell cliffs, pull back on Lust. You know, tell your warriors like here you're falling so behind. Your teammate has like 4 different magic debuffs, almost dead, and they still have Lust up, right? Or at least a Bumpkin has. Just tell him to intervene back, and you like reset the game.
Okay.
Also, don't in season 8 in general, don't be afraid to juggle beacons. You have the mana for it in most cases, and you kind of have to. Oh, you did actually. Oh, nice. You put the beacon on there. But yeah, don't be afraid to juggle beacons
I usually
when you
go
have.
I go a lot, quite a lot.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't melee for mana. I'm really bad at that.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, you kind of have to juggle beacons
Yeah,
because
for
like
sure.
season 8 damage is fucking
Yeah,
crazy,
you
right?
have to. Yeah,
As
yeah,
you can
yeah.
see, you just have to re-beacon. You
Mhm.
have to juggle beacons. Otherwise, you just fall so behind.
Yeah.
You just need to like try to do a better job with Klee and then melee whenever you can totems.
Okay.
Also, if in case you didn't know, you cannot get your seal cannot proc if the totem is absorbed, or if the target you're hitting has like
Yeah.
a shield on, like a
Yeah.
yeah, you cannot get mana proc.
Yeah.
So like in that case, like hypothetically, if you wanted to like farm mana right now, you would have the judgment the totem, so it breaks the absorption, and then if it breaks the shield, then you can get mana.
Yep.
But if the shield doesn't break from the damage, you cannot get mana. The game is over here. Here you have to like just say that you can't press anything. Or maybe you didn't even notice the clone because you're saying fear. But against Pumpkin teams in general, this goes against like Pumpkin Rogue or Pumpkin anything, right? You need to be a bit more careful with trinketing because on opener you trinket at a clone, and at that point this goes against Restored as well. At that point your brain is like, okay, if I'm gonna get cloned during Starfall or something, we're just gonna lose because you cannot bubble out of clone, right?
Yeah.
Be like a bit more careful with like often I like to even just bubble instead of trinket against like on
In the
EU.
opener.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, like on EU Restored SP Frostmage is very common comp. So if Restored still has NS ready, I like to just bubble. Like if I need to bubble a sheep or whatever it is. Like if I need to trinket, I instead bubble because otherwise I'm just gonna get NS cloned, you know, at some point,
Yeah.
or just randomly cloned, and then I cannot
Yeah.
press anything, right? Well, you survived the second Starfall, but I guess you die.
Yep.
As a rule of thumb, when they swap on you and after you holy shock, if you don't crit, you need to free them away.
Okay.
Even if you crit, you want to free them away, right? Like that, because like especially if you don't crit a holy shock.
Okay.
Or you did quit here. But like
Just
in
lucky,
general,
bro.
just free them away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're like stuck in the middle of the map, and like it takes you so fucking long to get to behind pillar, and
Yeah.
you're just gonna die eventually.
Yeah.
Don't be like afraid to like press freedom for yourself. Same thing against in general, like against almost any mage or anything. So like, let's say mage like blinks on top of you, right?
Yeah.
Mage SP, mage warrior, what doesn't matter. You can just pray freedom yourself. Like, don't give a fuck. Don't save it for a warrior. Just pray freedom and like, because otherwise, what's gonna happen is they're gonna con of cold you. They're gonna proc fucking uh, frostbite, and then they're gonna blanket you, and
Yeah.
you cannot do anything at this point. It's gonna shit.
When
But
they
if you pray freedom,
when they blanket me, I usually do DSAC.
yeah,
Is when they
DSAC,
blanket. Is that
DSAC, you
bad?
need to keep track at. It can be. You kind of wanna on your UI, just like this Vcora for Starfall that you had. You wanna add like the. You could add like a Vcora somewhere that tracks the fingers of Frostbrook from Frostmage, because they
Okay.
can only deep you with fingers for Frost.
Okay.
And you also maybe wanna keep track if the deep is on CD, right? You don't want to big sack if they don't have a deep ready, right?
Yeah.
'Cause,
I'm
you know,
using I'm
you kind of
using
only wanna.
your I'm using your
Oh, my Vcora. Yeah, I
yeah.
have it. I have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like if you know that they don't have deep, then just opt for the freedom play, right?
Okay.
If they have deep, then you can like pre-big sack, because often they're gonna like deep ship you, right? So
Okay.
you need to big sack before the deep comes. But like if you just saw him deep, or if he already cold snapped and deep at some point, then you just know that he doesn't have deep. Just pre-freedom away.
Okay.
Same against, by the way, LSP. LSP is very common. So like often LSP does pala swaps, right? They like root. Often what happens is they're hitting your warrior. You're next to your warrior. They root you both, and then they usually swap on you on this route. I see a mistake of people like they freedom their warrior instead of freedoming yourself. Like your warrior might like bitch about it, but if you just always freedom early yourself, nothing is gonna really happen. Like the enemy team cannot really generate a good goal in a sense.
Yeah.
Oh, your boy's dead. Oh, he didn't die. Nice. You're happy about that? I mean, you guys have been playing this game decent. Like, game hasn't been bad. Just like some bad CD usage, and like your warrior could have pulled back on the. Did you face this team many times, by the way? Like,
Yeah, we
what is your score against
lost
this comp?
0-3.
0-3. Try the shaman thing then, because that's exactly what we did. Because
Okay.
start of the
I
season, we,
like
we
it.
tried to play. Yeah, we used to play like this, like hit the closest, dampen them with coach warriors, right? And season 8, the damage is just like too much from this comp. Like we couldn't dampen them anymore. The
Yeah.
shaman doesn't the same way he did earlier, and like hitting the closest, I feel like it only works if you're like a really good team, right? But even with coach warriors, going shaman felt the more easy and still consistent enough way to win. Like
Sure.
we win 9 out of 10 games just going shaman, getting a good blade, and then we send EM on the shaman and he just dies. He just dies. Like every single game he dies.
Okay.
You don't have to hodge the shaman, by the way. You can like, let's say your warrior is kind of chasing like a mongo. You can hodge like a clone cast from Bumpkin, or you could even hodge warlock. You just like disrupt them as you run in. Because every second counts.
Who should my shaman should just be kicking lock damage and purging shaman?
Well, well,
Or
if you're going on the shaman, he wants to stop the clones or delay the clones as much as possible, right? So your team has time to set up the good playstyle, because like
okay.
they're gonna start adapting, right? When your
Yes.
warrior goes to shaman and starts, because he cannot play it insta, right? He needs to rend, he needs to mortal, hamstring,
Yes.
couple globals before, right? The bumpkin before he gets the blade off, the bumpkin wants to clone your warrior, right? So then your warrior can't really blade without trinketing. And if you trinket blades, the shaman might not die, because right after blade, your warrior can get insta coiled, insta half cloned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like ideally, your warrior still has trinkets ready after the blade to
Okay.
100% make sure that the shaman dies.
Okay.
So you just want to like delay the clone, like
I'm
hit the
gonna
clone,
I'm
ground the
gonna
clone.
have my I'm probably gonna have my warrior get coached by you or Torsten, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, that's good to know for me.
yeah. And obviously, you want to spam dispel on the fear. Like you hold that fucking pre-dispel down just so you get good opener, right? And
Yeah.
you pick sack early. You can even bubble early, by the
Like
way, because
like
I'm
like
telling you,
like
the shaman dies
what
9 out of 10 times. He
what
dies.
my goal is, like what I feel like I get, so what happens sometimes is I feel like I get really unlucky with my sacred cleansing procs, and it just puts me behind to where
Yes.
um when should I know like to just abandon like trying to get sacred cleansing up, and like because it feels like sometimes I get behind
Well,
just from trying to dispel and like get sacred
it's a
cleansing
straight.
up.
So obviously, if a target is say 80% HP, you do want to still press that holy shock, right?
Yeah.
You just put that holy shock on CD. And if you crit, then you can maybe weave in a couple more dispels and then use the fall proc, then a couple more dispels and then use another shock, right?
Okay.
If you don't crit and you're trying to dispel piece like this, like corruption, moonfire, like these are irrelevant spells. The big spells that you care about are flame shock, immolate, and then obviously maybe like situation in like a frost nova or something like this. But
Sure.
like when it comes to damage, when it comes to avoiding damage, the spells that are worth dispelling no matter what are immolate and flame shock.
Okay. All right.
Let me think if there is something else. But piece like this doesn't matter. Like these pumpkin dots irrelevant,
Okay.
corruption irrelevant. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Obviously, keeping the target clean, like you dispel if you can, but you don't dispel at the hopes of getting sacred cleansing if you have like healing ready, right?
Okay.
Or if you have to heal the guy.
Okay.
Only on immolate and flame shock. Like those, like warlock damage is all about immolate and getting the conflags out.
Okay.
Shaman is all about getting guaranteed crit on lava burst with flame shock.
Yep.
Everything else in the game kind of piss.
I,
Like then you
I
just
I
dispel.
watched I watched a lot of your guides on skill cap too. So
Oh yeah, like back into the
yeah,
or season 5.
I'm familiar with like some of those things. It's just like I notice that like I fall behind super easily sometimes, but I feel like I mean you're saying that we played decent, but I feel like I played pretty bad this game, honestly. I don't know.
Well, as a team, you played like decent, like as in like things were kind of going as you would expect them to go, other than maybe your pressure wasn't as good, and I wouldn't have trinketed that coil on open. I would have waited a little bit, tried to seed it, and then if I go low, or if they get like a blanket on you and the fit lock is still free casting, then maybe bubble, you know?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't snap trinket a coil, sorry, against a team like Pumpkin team.
Okay.
And then when it comes to global CDs, I mean, it's just like something that cannot be coached. It's more like something that you have to understand yourself. I can give you one tip. I don't know if I've ever said this on like skill cap video or something, but like often what I see holy ballers do wrong is when they holy shock and crit holy shock, they instantly use the flash proc, right? Now,
Yeah.
if you know that you have time to squeeze in that sacred shield, you need to squeeze it in first, just so you get like ahead against purges. So if you squeeze in
Okay.
sacred shield, you will get the full hot, right? You
Gotcha.
know the flash of light hot. So
Yes.
so like it's like if you always want to squeeze in the sacred shield if you know you can, because otherwise you will never fully recover.
Okay.
Because
No, it's
you'll
good
do
to
less
know.
HPS and then you don't have the sacred. Like I see even like decent palas do this mistake where they're like holy shock, then they flash and then maybe they sacred shield, but it doesn't really do anything because you still need to hardcast the flash of light after to get the flash of light hot,
Yeah.
which is like a lot of healing, right? It's like the only healing you have in CC or like when you're downtime or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that big flash of light hot?
All right. You can go next game.
Nice, you won the game. It is
No, we
doable.
lost.
Like this.
Yeah.
Wait, you lost this. Oh right, you were dead. I'm an idiot. I spaced so hard. I forgot about you. I was just like, oh my lord.
It's all good, brother. It's all good, man. No worries.
Well, kind of worked, almost worked. It is doable dampening them. If you like, as a team, like all of you play like 5-10% better, like in general, just like better globals, whatever, better decision making, you will win most games by doing this, by the way, like dampening them. But I'm telling you, it's so much easier to just go into shaman.
Okay.
So do that next
No,
game and see.
my warrior will like that too. He'll like that a lot.
Oh, he likes to go healers, huh?
Well,
He likes to send the blade.
he just likes to full zug and send the blade as soon as you
Yes,
can.
yes. It works 9 out of 10. It's, I don't know, they just die.
Okay.
They just die. LSD. LSD, what we want to do, we like to do, especially, you know, the easiest to execute and the better highest win rate tactic is you actually just almost exclusively tunnel the pet. Rest Druid cannot deal with like tunneling pet. Like the damage is way too high this
I
season
like it.
for Rest Druid to keep the pet. And often you need to tell this to your teammates as well when they're going to argue against you, or if they're going to argue against yourself, is that going bet actually mitigates more damage than not going bet. And the reasoning is because the pet will literally die in 2 seconds if the warlock doesn't spam health funnel it.
Yeah.
If the warlock is spam health funneling it, he's not getting immolates on anything. He's not doing anything. He's not doing any damage. You're just sitting there and spam dispelling the fucking flame shock and root from Ele. You know, like they're not gonna do anything. Like if you get the warlock in a position where he has to cast health funnel, they can't do anything.
I
And
okay.
the pet also dies through health funnel, by the way. The only issue with this tactic is that like you cannot get cloned. So your Ele needs to be really on point stopping the guy, and then your warrior also needs to get like, so an opener for example, your Ele just big balls, you insta run on top of pet, you start shitting on the pet. Your Ele goes close to do it, he can like wind share one clone, he needs to ignore the Ele and block. It's not needed to kick them. He just wind shares a clone, grounds a clone, he can thunderstorm a clone, and by this time pet is dead. It's just that simple.
Okay.
Go pet.
Okay.
And your job is to obviously keep everything clean, you know?
Yep.
Keep them clean and don't be afraid to use trinket or bubble even early, because once you get to the stage where like second pet is dead, they can't really do anything.
I
Or
like
even
it.
first pet.
I like it.
Ideally, like sometimes you have to if you can tell this to your teammates, if the pet doesn't like die kind of fast, send the blade storm on the pet. But ideally you keep the blade storm for the second pet. So when the warlock uh, feldoms, the pet comes out and it's not gonna have a single hot right. Your warrior can quickly just rend mortal blade storm. And by the time druid gets like even third life bloom up, the pet is like dead again, you know?
Dude, my warrior's gonna love this.
He's gonna love this. All he
Yeah.
has to do is zug zug, hit the fucking pet, and your warrior pov is like when your LA is out of stops for druid, or Druid is gonna get a clone on Warrior. Your Warrior presses Blade, Reflect, or maybe he can intercept the Druid and charge back on pet. He just needs to kind of like, that's the only thing he needs to worry about, and this fucking jog the pet. Obviously, unless if you call a wall or something, right? Sometimes
And
things go
and
wrong.
and that works on like rank 1 teams on NA.
This works against anyone,
Okay.
even on EU,
Okay.
against anyone, anything. Like, can play against Chan LSD and he cannot do anything. Like, we
Alright.
bully Chan LSD with fucking Coach Warriors. They can't do anything this season. It's a terrible matchup for LSD this season.
Okay, good
The
to
pet
know.
literally dies through health funnel and like druid spam healing.
Okay, good to know.
As long as the druid doesn't get clones. Like sometimes you have a bad game where like I don't know, your LA like falls asleep or your warrior doesn't get like any pressure, and the druid gets to like juggle clones, right? If it gets like a clone or your warrior, then he clones your LA and then he clones you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, no, for sure.
i- yeah. But outside of those few games where things go wrong, they can't do shit.
Okay, good to
This
know.
pet right here, biggest liability. I can already say by the way, against hunter teams, same thing. Tunnel pets. You face ATC, go pet. You face Red Hunter Disc, go pet. You face anything other than jungle, you go pet.
See, I
Against
I see I like I've always told my team like we can kill Hunter Pet, but they just I don't know, they just don't like doing it for some reason. And they're like, no, no, no,
like
no, no,
hunters
like
are completely useless without pet. Like
yeah,
once you kill the
yeah,
pet against like PHP or ATC, they can't do anything.
yeah,
The hunter cannot get away.
yeah,
He cannot. He can't pin your warrior. They don't have Roar of Sacrifice, which is
yeah,
like the most broken CD. 1 minute CD, you cannot crit, right?
yeah.
Completely broken CD. And then they don't have freedom. No freedom and no intervene. You just like sit on the hunter after and they can't do anything. But against the feral hunter, you have to go feral. If you go pet, it's too slow from what I learned. Like
Okay.
you cannot let a feral play the game because like it's about like the purge, right? If you go pet and then your Ela like doesn't pre-purge the feral and your warrior is not like intercepting the feral and feral gets to play the game too much, then you just in a clone hole game, right?
Yep.
You can't do anything. But anything else, you go pet.
All right. We probably don't even need to finish out like out this out then. Like you just change the strat and
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Ah, you just go pet.
Yep.
And
Okay.
even on opener, so like gates open, literally gates open, right? When do they open here? You literally run on mount. You don't stack, obviously, so you don't get triple shadow for it, blah, blah, blah. But like, let's say your alien warrior run from this side and you run a bit this side, so you don't get triple shadow. You just run on top of them.
Okay.
Your warrior insta goes fucking pet. You start spamming those dispels. Your ele can, by the way, EM the fucking pet as well. Insta. Like, literally insta. Like, put it on CD.
Okay.
Zero fucks given. EM the pet.
Okay.
Make sure that the warlock has to start health funneling, right?
Yeah.
Again, tempo game. The faster you get pressure on the pet, the faster they have to like adapt, right?
Yes.
Because if you just one tap the pet in within first 3 seconds with Elemental Mastery, Lava Burst, and Warrior doing like getting trinket procs and just like pressing 1, 2, 3, I don't know. They haven't done anything yet. They just die.
Okay. And we can go next. Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's all about tactics,
Yeah.
especially in Wrath.
Yeah.
The game is not that hard, right?
Yeah.
In terms of gameplay, compared to maybe retail, where you have like 50,000 buttons to press.
Yeah. You play retail?
Uh, yeah, I played BFA and Shadow. I quit season 1 Shadowlands, but before that I was blasting it on retail.
You're playing Kata or
Like
not?
retail is like a I played a little bit Kata. Or will I play Kata? Yeah, I will play Kata 100%. I will play Kata. I think Kata is gonna be worse in terms of like enjoyability for most people, but it's should be decent still.
Yeah.
I think choosing Kata is gonna be horrible, but if you play threes, you're gonna enjoy it similarly to uh, Wrath. Like Holy Pala and Kata, I'm guessing you only play Holy Pala, but Holy Pala and Kata is it's not too bad. Like it's actually surprisingly good in threes
I agree. Yeah,
because
and people are saying, "Oh,
don't
it's bad. It's bad." No,
It's
I think
bad.
it's
It's
good.
bad. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah.
The thing with Holy Pala is that if you, because like you can heal super mana efficiently in Kata. Like in Kata it's different. You put beacon on the guy you heal, right? And
Yeah.
you generate holy power and then you do like free healing basically.
Yeah.
It's
Instant
like
cast.
Pala
Yeah.
is the only healer that doesn't season 9. Like if you don't
Nice.
want to as Holy Pala, you want to as Holy Pala. So you play around. You kind of play. Your gameplay is always like hit the closest target. You know, like play safe, stop damage, and do damage, and then you win. This is
Yeah.
like Holy Pala
So
gameplay in season 9.
I told my team here on these to like just limit like this is the SAS rogue.
Yeah.
I'm just like
Always.
don't let him hit anything. Just like limit his uptime. And for some reason, like my team just loves like going and hitting the rogue. But
Oof. Yeah, I
I
was about to say this. This map matchup has one function: con the fucking warlock. press everything as aggressively as you can. So
Yeah.
if they get a sap on your L, I literally pop my L so he doesn't he can gets to play the game because obviously your L cannot trinket the sap. He gets full hex, full blind, blah
If
blah.
they
And
sap me,
if they
because
get a
I was getting sap, or I got blinded here. If they sap me, do I trinket the sap or no? Do I sit it?
yeah, I think you trinket it
Okay.
straight up. Have to trinket against Orlas, but nothing matters if you're going on the rogue. If you go on the rogue, this matchup is hard,
Yeah. Yeah.
unironically really
I,
hard.
I I
You
told them.
cannot go rogue.
Yeah.
You need to get super aggressive on the warlock. But
Okay.
this, like your warrior, you need to coordinate with your warrior. Like you cannot face freedom. So your freedom when your warrior cannot reach the warlock in other ways, right? But if your warrior can reach the warlock, then he presses charge, intercept, whatever. So
Okay.
you press everything you can to have 100% uptime on the warlock, which is possible, by the way. And then you play super aggro with your CDs. You trinket first, bubble second, big sack. Like if the rogue were to open here on the warrior, pop this fucking sap
Okay.
insta last, get on the warlock. You know what I mean? Like, but you need to play aggressive and you need to play on the warlock. You win 9 out of 10 games.
Okay.
If you go on the rogue, oh, you're making the game very hard for
I
yourself.
I
You can
agree,
still
dude.
win.
I agree. Like
You can
I
still win,
yeah. Go
but
ahead.
you need to like, yeah, you need to like kite. You need to like freedom,
Yeah.
intervene, kite, fucking mortal, clean the guy.
Yeah.
Like, it's very hard to go rogue.
Yeah.
You cannot go rogue.
Yeah.
It's too slow.
It
It's
is.
too slow.
It's way too slow.
So what you do here is hypothetically like this opener, right? Let me just go back once. So here I would pop. Actually, you don't want to pop your guy before you're in combat yourself. So what I like to do is I like to taunt something if I can. So like I will maybe go like a bit forward, taunt the warlock, and then after taunting, because taunt is off global CD, I would pop my guy. But if you can't taunt or you don't have it keep on whatever, then just like do one holy shock on your warrior and then pop your guy, right?
Okay.
Just make sure you don't get sapped on the pop as you pop like your Ella. You don't want to get sapped yourself. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because that's a disaster. What type of like opener? You pop your guy. You pop your guy. Warlock peaks. Your warrior is fucking ready. He's gonna trinket this kidney. Insta go on the warlock. Insta.
So
Here.
he's
Trinket. Charge warlock. Your
he,
guy is already out because he's popped. You will also trinket this blind.
okay. So
Last.
so you
Spam this
would
for your
so you
warrior.
would have so the shaman I play with gets coach from Betty, and he said that the warrior shouldn't trinket the first kidney.
I
Um.
think he should in season 8. Like
Okay.
because like it's very unlikely that you're gonna dispel this fucking dog shit off, right?
Yeah.
So they can never blind. They already blinded you, but they can never like full reset on your warrior. They can never like blind him and like kind of run away.
Yeah.
So since your warrior triggers the first kidney, what you wanna do is not big sack. You don't big sack on the first kidney. You big sack the second kidney
Okay.
because the second kidney is gonna be big. It's gonna be like kidney coil into disarm or something. But I like if you don't trinket this first kidney, you're just gonna be so behind already.
Yep.
Oh,
I
it's a
agree.
Destro warlock.
Yeah.
Well, even
That's
against Destro, you still do the same. You still
yeah.
go warlock. Against Destro, this should be really easy, by the way, since it's Destro. You can just spam Dispel. You can just double key the Warlock and spam Dispel. The Warlock can't do
Yeah.
any damage. Should be very
This
easy.
is so frustrating,
The
dude.
Big Sack is good if your warrior sits, by the way.
Okay.
It can be situational. Like, obviously, your warrior shouldn't trinket the kidney if he knows he cannot reach the Warlock, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of have to communicate or see where the Warlock is, right?
Okay.
And if he sits, you need to Big Sack. Otherwise, you're gonna start the game like way too behind. And your Shaman is to trinket. Now he's sitting a Hex.
Yeah. Like he has.
This is a big
Yeah.
no-no.
Yeah, dude.
Trinket last, so you can start fucking spamming Dispel. Like, you already have shit gear. Like, you have low spell power, not the highest haste. Like, you will never be able to out heal this.
Yeah. I agree.
You just need to play faster.
Yeah.
And what Betty is probably telling your warriors, like, so what I've learned is that a lot of these people who coach people, they coach people as if it's like the best team in the world against the best team in the world. You know what I mean? Like, these like slow approaches, they don't often work unless if you play to perfection. If you're like skill capped in terms of mechanics and whatnot. You know what I mean? Like, that's
Yes.
why I'm telling you to do like always the most simple tactic. Like
Mhm.
against LSD, you copy it. Well, it's not just the most simple tactic, it's also the best tactic. Like, this is what people even on top would do. But the Boomkin team maybe like on top level, like people wouldn't go on the healer against the Boomkin lock healer Resta Shaman. But like it's the most effective and highest win rate tactic for most people. You know?
Okay.
And it's the same thing here. Like, if you sit the first kidney as a warrior, like, you cannot really play the game after.
I
You need to
agree.
like freedom, kite away, like dispel the fucking wound, then top and like so much shit. And same with LA, like you cannot sit this X, there's no way.
I agree, dude.
But also pop your LA from Zap. It's crucial.
Okay.
that your Ele gets ahead. He gets the Flame Shock up, he gets a couple purges, he can stop casts from the Warlock, he can, start working on his own things, get ahead, and then he can press last, as well.
Okay.
So you don't play the game from behind. Wrath in general, especially Season 8, is such like a tempo game. Playing game from behind is like infinitely harder than playing game from ahead. I mean, you've noticed that probably like playing
Yep.
from this situation, like you would rather be the enemy team right now, like
Yeah. Yeah.
this shaman can just like hold down purge or like he can kick anything he wants. He can, he
I,
can play
and
the game.
I try and tell my teammates too to like value my trinket more than theirs. Like just send the trinket like really quick.
Yeah,
Is what I try and tell my team, but they just I don't know. Is that bad to tell them just like to trinket before I have
kinda.
to?
Kinda because it really depends on the matchup. So there are matchups where your warrior, for example, has to save his trinket offensively to kill something. For example, LA Mage Disc, that's a common matchup, right? Your
Yeah.
warrior often has to trinket to actually kill something, right? So like let's say he does like a blade storm on Ele, hypothetically, and he has Giga Pressure on Ele. Now, if your warrior already had trinketed something before this blade, what's gonna happen is he's gonna get a deep with a bunch of debuffs, and the Ele is gonna be fine because you're not gonna get lucky and get dispel the deep. So he's gonna blade, and then after blade, the first CC that happens on him, he just trinkets and finishes the Ele. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are other examples like RMP. RMP is a good example, or just matchups where enemy will die as long as your warrior has uptime. It's kind of like, yeah,
Okay.
like you should press before your warrior.
Okay.
Very situational. But as like a general rule, like it's not really a rule. You cannot. It's not like a rule where your warrior should trinket first or Ele should trinket
Okay.
first. Well, almost always your Ele should trinket first, to be fair, because like Ele, you don't really use trinkets like that. But on warrior, often you have to trinket to like finish the game or just generate giga pressure. You know what I mean? Like offensive trinket. It's
Okay.
very, very much a thing.
Okay. Good to know.
But this game is just played too slow. This comp is so fast. Like you cannot treat
Uh,
this game like this. It's both Ele needs to trinket first hex. You wanna pop the sap from the Ele. You wanna insta trinket obviously a blind. I would also tell your warrior to trinket the kidney and just start blasting, because if your warrior trinkets and your Ele is already like out of CC, lost and fucking spamming damage on the warlock, your warrior can just stay in two-hander whole game. They're not gonna generate enough pressure. You're the team who's gonna generate the pressure. They're gonna be kiting around the map. Your warrior is not gonna be stuck in one-hander, not doing any pressure.
yep. We can go
It's all
next.
about putting them on back foot. Which one was next? 117. 117. TC mirror. The good old TC mirror. Well, there's few ways to play this matchup, right? My general rule of thumb is that if you're confident that you're better than the enemy team, you wanna swap between warrior and pala, and you wanna do root hodge on the Ele into hex. So on
Okay.
CD, literally on CD, every time you have hex ready, your Ele and warrior and Ele are stacked. All you have to do is press root, take 2 steps to the side so warrior can kick, and you hodge the Ele same time as he's rooted. Now the enemy Holy Pala, he cannot just dispel the fucking hodge because the Ele is gonna have root slow, root, hodge, and in some cases flame shock and judgment. So it's almost always sticks the hodge. So he
Okay.
gets hodge on CD on Ele. Now this is the harder tactic. This is the tactic that you want to do if you're playing against shitters and you know that you can outplay them. If you know that it's like a team that you usually struggle against or lose, or they're just like better than you, then you just go Ele. You just send it on Ele. You can even sunder the Ele, you tunnel the Ele, right?
Okay.
Because going Ele, if they also go Ele, it's just almost all about crits and like little details on your like healing and damage rotation, right? But
Okay.
it very there's not much outplay potential, right? If both teams are going Ele. Now, what I can tell you, what you want to look out for is one,
I
your
get sheared so much, bro. And
mm,
like
well,
it's bad.
yeah, I was gonna tell you a few tips. So one is that it's always a game of like not falling behind on buffs against the enemy, because the enemy is purging and you're trying to like not fall behind. Now, how do you not fall behind on purges? And at the simultaneously, how do you fake cast him? Well, if he has kick ready, okay, and you're casting flash, when he has kick ready, you want to pair your faking. So like let's say you cast flash to like 40% of the cast. You always want to pair, when you stop casting flash to try fake, you always want to pair it with something. So if your warrior has no sacred shield, you stop casting flash, you sacred shield, right?
Ah, okay.
If your warrior has Sacred Shield, you fake and you stop casting and you press Kings on him, right? If he doesn't have Kings. If he has both buffs already, you stop and you cast Holy Shock, right? If Holy Shock is on CD and your warrior has all the buffs in the world, you stop casting and you pair it with Dispel. You know, you Dispel Flame Shock. You know what I mean? My point is that
Yes.
every time you fake, you don't want to fake and stand there not do anything, right? You want to fake and like cast either priority Sacred Shield. No, well, priorities will be like Holy Shock, right? If you have it
Sure.
ready and the guy is not full HP. But outside of that, it's like Sacred Shield, then Kings, and then Dispel, right? But you
Okay.
always need to cast something when you fake cast.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're just gonna fake yourself to death, as people say.
Yep.
You're gonna be standing there and faking yourself to death and not achieving anything. Like now, if it doesn't kick as you fake, at least you casted something, right? At least
Yeah.
you actually worked on a goal.
Yes.
That's like number one tip I can give you.
No, that's super good. Thank you.
Another tip is that this is kind of obvious. Like I'm sure, like even think about this. Like if you have Holy Shock ready and the guy's like he's not like about to die to the next global type of deal. Obviously, you're not gonna use your Holy Shock while there's no Wind Shear. Even though it is more HPS, right? It's more healing per second to press Holy Shock than Flash. You're gonna Flash as long as he doesn't have kick ready, right?
Okay.
And then when he has kick ready, same thing. You cast Flash here, then you fake cast wherever you want, like where you're feeling it 30%, 50, 60, whatever. You fake cast and then you pair it with a shock. The moment you stop casting, you Holy Shock, and then repeat. If he fell for it and kicked, then you just cast. If you didn't fall for it, you cast again to like whatever 40%, 50. That's up to you, obviously. 60, 70. You try to fake him, and then you pair it with like in this case, since he doesn't do Sacred Shield, you Sacred Shield. You follow. Like just always do something, even when you're faking. And it looks like you guys like to do the warrior. You like to do the Blade Storm play with the Hodge,
We
or
like
just
to
Hodge in general.
we like to Hodge Hex the warrior, but it doesn't look like.
Oh, you hotchecks the warrior, but
Yeah.
that's not. It's too hard. There's too many variables. Because like, not only can the LS still stop it. I mean, so do you like cover with intercept on purpose, or like how do you do it? Like you intercept the LS and hodge the warrior and then hex, or what?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of sus. Like we haven't
This
gotten
is so
really good
stupid.
at it, but
Yeah, don't do this. So
okay.
if you want to go LS, don't hex the warrior. What you
Okay.
do when you go LS, is you you hex the pala, and you don't go for it. You just do it blindly. Your Ela just gets it. He snipes it. You know what I mean? You don't
Yeah.
set up the hex on the Pala. You just try to land hexes on Pala. So if you go Ele, spam purge obviously. Try to get some lavas in every now and then. Spam purge, 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 purge. Also purge the Pala. Get the Dispel Divine Illumination, Dispel Lust obviously, Dispel Beacon, whatever. But keep the Ele clean. Keep it simple. Pump him, and then when your Ele goes for these lavas, right? Often the enemy Ele will kick the lava or ground the lava, and he's kicking you on CD, right? And then you just naturally get hexes on the pala because you're free casting, so Ele is often kicking you, and then your Ele presses lava burst on CD, so he's often grounding the lava burst. So you just get these opportunities where you can like press a root, 2 steps to the side, hex the pala. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you go Ele, don't hex the war. It's just too slow. You know, like it's too clunky. Like I wish in ideal world, obviously you would hex the warrior, right? Constantly on CD and then you will shit on them, but it just doesn't work, you know. Especially against good teams. Too many stops, you know. It's just too hard to get. So if you wanna go Ele, hex the Pala when the moment comes for it. And if you wanna play the slow route, like I said, you do what I said. You pump the warrior, blast him, blast him, blast him. You go in, you double root these two, warrior and Ele. You hodge the Ele, and then you hex the Ele. And whenever we have hex on Ele or fear on Ele, any type of CC, you can go on the Pala because it's 2v3, right? And by this time, the warrior, since you started, warrior is like marinated, half HP, maybe even in a block, hopefully. But point is, he's half HP, and your LA is keeping track of beacon. He's purging beacon, and then you have double pressure on warrior and pala. Like, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where like you are pressured and then your teammate is pressured. That's like the
Yeah.
worst shit ever, right?
Yeah.
To deal with. You cannot like heal two same time if the enemy is like awake and dispelling your beacon, right? It's just like the biggest edge when people are on top of you and then your teammate is also low. But yeah, I would never try to do this hexing on warrior. It's not
Okay.
worth. Also, when it comes to bopping against TC, you always want to bop a fresh mortal. I need to see here. I couldn't see. I think I have a VCore on my Discord, by the way, that like shows mortal
Okay.
on like where you want.
Okay.
You need to move it. But like for me, it's like here on this corner, like Mortal Strike and M Shot both,
Okay.
and I just keep it like on the corner of the frame.
Okay. I'll do
So
that.
it's super crucial you pop a fresh mortal because if you pop randomly and the warrior has mortal ready, enemy gets like fortunate, purges the buff with one dispel. You're not gonna get a single heal off before before there's a new mortal.
Yeah.
Completely like fucks your buff. Like in this case, you got the heal obviously, but just something to look out for.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
And same against the hunters, like I said earlier. Like you always kind of wanna pop a fresh mortal or M shot. Gonna help you so much. Yeah, like here you're definitely faking yourself to death. Oh, one sec, I DC'd from a game. Or such it. Like you're faking and not really. You did press something there. I'm not sure what. I guess dispo. But you always want to press something when you fake.
Okay.
Also, another thing, if you know that you're behind right here, obviously you're fucked. You have no big sack, you have no pop. You need to jump down. You need to make the executive decision and tell your team like, yo, go pillar, play pillar. Because what you can do is, you and Ele run around the pillar. You freedom your Ele on CD, and he's like runs around the pillar. He's gonna lose mortal. He's not gonna tank any damage. And your warrior just piercing house and tunnels the enemy warrior. Like he keeps both L and warriors low, and he tunnels the enemy warrior. Like sometimes you just have to make the decision where you have to go pillar. So your the enemy L is never gonna get any combos off on your L. Because like in this situation, he's just gonna lose the game, right?
Yep.
I don't think there's like anything you can do. You're so far behind on CDs and tempo.
Yep.
Like like here, L is kind of using the pillar and kiting. Like the enemy L can't purge, he can't do anything for a bit, but just go down, go to a big pillar. Same in Nagaram, just go behind pillar.
Okay.
If you're like giga behind. This is like what you need to do as a healer, you know. You need to tell your team like, yo, you fucked, go pillar, pillar, pillar. And then you
Okay.
feed them your LA and you kite and try to like come back to the game. But yeah, another thing is like when if you get the V card from my Discord, you always see the mortal. Right now the mortal appeared, but before this you couldn't see the mortal like on your frame.
Yeah.
Wait, how come do you have like a set number of debuffs you can see here or what?
I don't
Like
know,
on the
dude.
target frame?
It's
This is so
bugged.
scuffed.
Yeah.
You
It's
cannot see like the mortal on the target frame. Like it's really important that you can like know when mortal is ending. Because for example, let's say the holy shock ready here. Hypothetically, you don't because you used it like 2 seconds ago. But hypothetically, you have holy shock ready here. What a bad player would do is holy shock right here, right? What a good player would do is they would wait this 1.3 seconds or whatever it is, because the warrior is not gonna reach the LA, your LA is gonna go behind here. You would wait that 1.3 seconds and then holy shock him, and you crit full HP insta. Even if you don't crit, probably full HP. You know what I mean? Like you need to like play around the mortal more than you think in Wrath.
okay.
Mortal often falls against in TC mirrors or against anything in general, especially if warriors are hitting each other because there's going to be parries involved and dodges and warriors have very high avoidance. Also a good recovery from your team though in general. Like your LA did a good job recognizing that you're so behind. He started kiting. Your LA did a good decision there with the MS for sure. Like here, for example, I don't know what you're gonna do, but I would always sacred shield here first and then use the fall proc, right? I don't know what you're gonna do here. Oh, you actually do it. Sacred shield and then you fall.
Yeah.
Perfect. Like this is good. This is good. This is what you want to do.
Okay.
But often when I do these VOD reviews, I always see like they swap on the guy and they just use the fall proc, insta. You know what I mean?
I usually,
Like this is
I'll
like
be
the
honest with you, though, Sumi. I usually use the full proc instead. I will say.
yeah. This was good thinking because like now instead of having only the sacred shield, at least you have two fucking things for the purge, then
Yeah.
border shield and like actually four, one, two, yeah, four buffs now. You have this elite thing, clear casting proc, and then two from here and one here from here. Four things to purge, and then he can resist the purge, and then maybe soon you have Global to put kings on him, and then all of a sudden he has 5 buffs, and it's like so edge for the enemy, and then you just keep spamming flash, and you keep refreshing this buff, and he's just like pissed. He's pissed, you know?
Yeah.
It's because you don't have the DPS meter down, but like you can imagine, like in the mirror, warrior does like here, and then ele damage is like here. You know what I mean? Like ele
Yeah.
does no damage in TC mirror. It's all about the purge.
Yeah.
So like you need to like try to fuck him on the purge department by getting ahead on buffs.
Sometimes in the TC mirror, it feels like we would. I think we're like 1-5 against this team. And
Yeah.
it feels like the enemy TC when we lose, the enemy Ellie Shaman is doing more damage than our Shaman, but our Shaman is purging more. Um, and it just feels like we get behind really quick in the open.
Yeah. I win this game. Okay.
Yeah, luck.
Well, the thing is like, so it's like kind of hard to say what was worth in hindsight, right? It's
Yeah,
hard to say like just looking at details. Like, was this extra damage worth or this extra purge? That's something that I cannot say without like seeing your Elepa, for example. Like,
yeah,
I would need to see when he's purging and when he could squeeze in a lava. Like, the thing is like, it is very good to squeeze in those lava chain combos, right? But
yeah.
you don't want to like damage if you know that the enemy team has stops. You know what
Yes, I agree.
you're
Okay,
playing bad if you casting lava and you know that it's gonna be either grounded or kicked or UA'd.
okay.
You should only take the lavas and the chains, one, when you know that you can get them off, or two, if you're trying to bait a grounding to hex the enemy, holy pala, or hex whatever you're trying to hex. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You shouldn't cast if they have stops, unless if you want to be stopped, so you can cast a hex after.
okay.
You know,
Good to know.
so it's like it kind of depends on the enemy LA playstyle as well. For example, a good example is like on EU, for example, Torsten on LA, he prefers to purge, whereas Betty likes to go for a bit more damage. Now, I don't know what's more worth. It's really hard to say because there are games where like Betty's team gets completely like shit on because like they never. I'm always so ahead on like this buffs, you know. So my team is not taking any pressure because I'm just spamming flash, and every time like something gets purged, I get like another flash hot. I get like I have time to kings. I can like I'm always like my whole team is always like fully marinated. I can always even press beacon and they can't get the beacon off instant. Blah blah blah. And
Okay,
sometimes we get like shit on because like my warrior gets like comboed by the you know, lava chains, froststroke, and all of a sudden they have like big pressure.
that's good
It's
to
really
know.
hard to say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
hard
for
to say.
sure.
Like you can't tell that you cannot just say that like my LA is playing bad because he's getting out damaged. That's not necessarily the case, you know.
Okay, no, I'm glad you said that for sure.
Yeah,
'Cause he is really good with making sure he purges and gets buffs off before he does damage.
yeah.
So
Generally, probably purging is better. Purging, like I at least I like to play with LSU purge.
okay,
And when it comes to like what you want to do, you can explore both. You can explore either what I said, you go play more around warrior and pala, and try to do the root hodge hex on LA. That's actually easier to do than it sounds. It's so easy to do. This is why we do it because it's so easy to do. You know, you can obviously also do intercept hex on the LA, but this is, from my opinion, way harder because then your warrior is out of mobility and it's like
for
it's just
sure.
harder to set up.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so
yeah,
easy to like double root the warrior on LA. Your LA
yeah.
sidestep starts casting hex, and as he's casting hex already maybe 0.2 into the cast, you just hodge the guy, and you almost always get it on CD like a hex on the LA.
Okay.
There's only one thing. There's only one thing really you need to pay out for: thunderstorm, right?
Yep.
If you do it on thunderstorm, you're just gonna get knocked. But even then, it's not the worst thing because if they have to use a knock like that in Dollar Run or Blade Sedge, it's a bad knock. Like you would rather have your knock and then do a game winning like a split knock or like knock somebody down or you know what I mean. Like
Yes.
if you just knock to stop a hex, it's still a win in my opinion, at least in these knock maps.
Okay.
Or you can just go all in on LA. And when you go LA, you can tell your warrior to sunder the LA as well. If you go LA, you just go LA, you know, sunder him. It makes a big diff. Especially if you force a pop early. It's insta sunder the LA to 5 and you're gonna kill the LA, guarantee. If the enemy team does the same and doesn't sunder. It's a big changer. You can explore both, but don't do this hex dog shit on warrior. It's not gonna work. If you want to hodge warrior, you only do it on a route when your LA wants to play it. I mean, sorry, your warrior wants to play it. You can also explore this option. Let's say you're going LA, and in the start of the game, your warrior has trinket procs. You can hodge the enemy warrior to Blade Storm, just to delay the disarm, or best case he doesn't trinket the Hodge and then he never disarms and the ally just dies. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
outside of that, I wouldn't Hodge the Warrior really. You can also Hodge the Warrior if the Warrior goes you, like 1v1, you know what I mean? Like Warrior charges you across the map and tries to go you drag him behind pillar, you Hodge him and you freedom away. That's another way to Hodge the Warrior, but enough with this Hodge Hex on Warrior, no need.
Okay.
Next
Yes,
game.
sir. Yes, sir.
Same thing here. Well, we already went through this matchup. So I'm guessing you're gonna go SP and you're gonna get fucking shit on because you're going SP.
Yep.
Go Warrior, press Hex on the guy, kick the fucking guy, fear him as well. Fear Warden Pala. Like, you could literally just run in, insta fear the SP, insta, like 0-1, fear the SP, right? Go on the Warrior. If the SP trinkets, Hex, last. You win the game type of thing. Because you get like Giga Pressure on the Warrior, you can swap on Pala, you can go back to the Warrior, you know what I mean? You're so ahead at that point that like they can't do anything. If he sits the fear, well, even better. Just like shit on the fucking Warrior, then Hex the SP out, he's gonna trinket it. Next Hex, you Hex last. And best part, you're not gonna die, because you're on the Warrior, your Warrior can always intercept the Warrior, you just free them away, whoosh, I'm fine. You know what I mean? This is just like, you're basically asking to lose this matchup. It's an easy matchup that you're making into a hard matchup
Yeah.
by going on the SP.
Yeah.
Nothing more to it. Like I don't even want to look at this game because
Okay.
it's like,
Okay. No, no, no.
who
Thank
cares?
you. I agree. Thank you. Thank you. No, I agree with you.
Like, you just shouldn't
I
play
was
like this.
I was telling my team, I'm like, if you guys don't want me to bubble, in the opener like that, like you guys need to hit the warrior. Like I was telling my team that they just
Yeah.
don't. They just don't.
Well,
You know.
I don't listen.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not like a TC mirror where it's like kind of hard to hex the guy, right? It's a fucking SP. What is he gonna do? Nothing. He's just gonna tank the fucking hex on his face
Yeah.
on CD on demand.
Okay.
It's like half the game. It's 2v3. You know, like.
Yeah. We can go next for sure.
And once you get like a block from the warrior, you can swap like on Pala, like a good time swap. Like you have like maybe Aspian or Hex, or he's just coming out of Hex and you're kind of chilling. Warrior is blocking, swap Pala, get the bubble as well, like
Um,
heavy pressure. So it all starts from like pressuring the warrior and getting the CC on the Aspi. Fear
okay.
on CD as well. I didn't mention it enough. You can fear the Aspi on CD.
Okay.
Tell your warrior to do this. Easy matchup. Next. TC mirror. Let's see how you approach it. We already kind of went through what you can do. So I'll try to just pay attention to what you're actually doing. I like standing on stairs. Do you often do this, or do you
Yes.
play on box?
When when
Yeah.
when when there's a an enemy that can knock, I usually stay on stairs.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep. I like standing on stairs, and if they go you, what you need to do is like okay, so Pala is there, right? If they go you, if the warrior goes you need to tell them to go warrior. This is like a 101 rule in TCM as well. If the enemy team goes Pala, you go warrior. Like unless if the LA is about to die, because then you can, then it's fine. But in general, if they go you in a situation like this, you can go warrior and you just go stand here, somewhere here. The Pala has to run all the way to heal the warrior, and by the time he gets to the warrior, he's already like dead. He's
Yep.
half HP, fully marinated. He just cannot do anything. And then you just like you root the warrior freedom away, and more most of more often than not, like you walk out with only pressing freedom and maybe crit shock. Worst case, you press Bauble, the trinket thingy magic, and you get Giga Tempo on warrior.
Okay.
Oh, what am I skipping? What am I doing? Back to the game. Also, don't be afraid to go Palas, by the way, especially when you get split knocks. Uh, most Palas, 26k HP. Yeah, this guy probably 800 resi max, right? Like, you go on Pala on a knock like this, you insta get fucking bubble. Charge, Rend, Hamstring, Mortal Blade, EM. The Pala is either dead or bubbles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tell your team to explore the Pala option a bit more when it's a 2v3. Like, you're an exception. Like, you play way higher resi than I would say average Pala. It's like average Pala just explodes insta. If they don't get like insta peeled. They do like the classic root blade storm. Like, if I don't have freedom here, which you don't, I will just pop. Like there's no way around it, which you do pop here. I would like pop a mortal insta. Wait, like your UI, so like I don't know if he has mortal or not, because like I don't know if your UI is lying to me, you know.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't have mortal, obviously the blade is bad. Then he's just like holy shock, powerful, whatever. Hard to say. I wonder if the guy had mortal, because your UI is bugged.
Yeah. Well, it's showing there, so he probably didn't.
Yeah. Like if he didn't, I wouldn't pop until he gets mortal. I would use like where's your auto mastery? Oh, you use it. I use this here. Like assuming he does the mortal here, I will just cast here. But your flash heals so little, so maybe he had mortal. Your flash didn't do any healing. So I don't know, maybe your UI is bugged.
Yeah. I'll get your weak aura.
You almost also kind of want to fix this thing. I don't know what's happening here. I think what's happening here is that you have max debuffs that you can see on your add-on, you know.
Okay.
You need to set it higher so you can see more debuffs or something like this. I'm not sure. This is a scary position in general because you're split from your ele and you're giving him a perfect knock. He has a knock ready. I'm guessing he's gonna knock you now and you lose. Okay, he didn't, but assuming you're tracking knock, which you probably are because this looks like my omnibar, he
Yeah.
will knock you down here and you die.
Okay.
Or your ele dies. So wanna try to pay attention to the knock on this map. Oh, good dodge on the knock. I don't know if on purpose or not, but wait, you're not tracking the knock. You're not tracking the knock. Look, it just knocked you into the wall and nothing pops up.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it's not my omnibar.
It is. It is. I don't know why it's not tracking it. That's weird. I need to fix that.
Yeah. It's definitely not mine because like look, it shows overpower CD, which I
I
don't know where
added
that is.
I added overpower.
Overpower has no CD by the way as a warrior, arms warrior. It's 1 second.
Okay.
It's like no CD.
Okay.
It's like the proc. They get like a taste for blood proc. I think I have a V code on my Discord that
Yes, you do.
maybe shows it.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. But the spell itself has no CD. They can spam it like back to back to back to back.
Okay.
So the way they can spam it, if they obviously dodge parry or dodge for parry, then they can press it after, or if they get the proc from the taste for blood, which can proc every 6 seconds. Like so when Ren does damage, no sorry, every 9 seconds. No, every 6 seconds Ren does damage, it can proc like a free overpower, you know. But like tracking the overpower itself has no use. That was actually unfortunate because if your Ela gets the knock there, I think you win the game. Yeah, like if the Pala got knocked to the corner, you would have won the game, Kruge. I think you faked here for no reason because you probably would have squeezed in the cast. Yeah, I guess you didn't pay attention to the wind shear here.
Yeah.
Like you would get this flash off and then maybe you would leave because you would have like holy shock, like flash off there and then cast another, stop casting early and then holy shock with the fake, you know,
Yeah.
that thing. And I don't know. I feel like tactics wise, like I almost would have drink. I don't know. It's so hard to say. Like you basically had to pop for free because your warrior got rooted and then they bladed on it, right? So no disarm. And then on the opener, after getting this good knock, I think you guys kind of wasted it because your warrior couldn't connect to the pala. It was like really early on. Where the fuck was it? Like if you get a knock like this and your warrior actually cannot connect to the Ele, he should just charge on the pala. Like I swear you insta get the bubble here.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't be afraid to go pala when it's either you have a hex or fear on the Ele, or you get a knock like this. Don't be afraid to go pala. Insta bubble. Also, I forgot to mention that if you decide to do the tactic where you do root hodge hex on Ele, your warrior needs to fear on CD. Like the moment the gate, like the moment anything happens, fear
Okay.
on the Ele, just to force his trinket, you know.
Okay.
And if he sits the fear, good. You get Giga Pressure on the warrior, and you can even swap on Pala.
Okay.
Usually they trinket it, so like after they trinket, you just get that Hodge root Hex on the L, and then it's 2v3. You can either freak it, fucking blast the brains out of the warrior, or you can swap on Pala, depending kind of like what's happening.
Okay.
Gameplay wise, it's just like microplays. I don't know, but it's from your teammates as well. Like just practice makes better, I guess. There's not like a big secret here like that you can do. You obviously want to like mind games, like try to fake cast him, and as you're doing for the fakes, you do what I explained
I'm
earlier.
buffing.
You
Yeah.
always press something.
Instead of it
And
being empty.
sometimes even if you have a holy shock ready, what I like to do sometimes is like obviously you could just insta holy shock, but like sometimes I go for that like 0.3 flash cast, into holy shock just to see if they like insta kick. You know what I mean? Because they sometimes they insta kick. Just yeah, I don't know. It's like a little mind games that you want to do better.
Okay.
So like you said, you get kicked a lot. So it's like I always want to try to find ways to outsmart the opponent with little shit like that.
Got it.
I guess hop on to the last game, LSP. Now LSP, you can do the same where you go pet, but as a warning, it's not as effective. You can do it. You can go pet, and you can just tunnel the pet. But you need to be prepared to be on the pet for a longer time, which in return means that you, the paladin, and the Ele. Well, the Ele needs to play good in terms of stopping damage, since he doesn't have to stop clones. He needs to stop damage, and you need to have really good globals in terms of like weaving in dispels, weaving in perfect holy shock, and always like trying to be ahead on purges with the Sacred Shield. So, what do you like? What does your team usually do? You go closest, and or maybe you play the Ele.
Yeah, we played the Ellie,
Yeah,
and then if he,
blading the
if
Ele is
if the
only
Ellie
something I
doesn't
don't
die,
dollar.
then we go lock.
Yeah, I would say don't play the Ele unless if it's dollar. Unless
Okay.
if what's you like, does this work? Like, do you usually win LSP?
No.
No. So do not play the Ele. Only in dollar. In dollar you can go Ele. You kind of have to, because otherwise you get fucked by the Nox, right? So dollar is like a Ele, almost only Ele map. You can swap. You can put Rends on Warlock. You can put Rends on Pet, even Pala. Sometimes you can go Pala if you get like a good knock. You knock the Pala down. You go Pala. Blah blah blah. But in general, go either Warlock or Pet.
Okay.
Most often I go Pet, but a lot of the teams, especially on EU, they started like keeping their pet like in prep room or keeping their pet in like really edge spots, right? So in those cases, you kind of have to go Warlock instead.
But if they're like giving us their pet, like the pet's just out in the open, we can go on it.
Yes,
Okay.
I mean you can go pet even if it's like not even if it's here, but try it, try.
Okay.
It works, but it's not as effective as I guess LSD because it takes a bit more to kill the pet, but at the same time it's not as scary because they don't have Cyclone to like recover. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like what often happens is the Pala is gonna spam cast heal on the pet, and Warlock is gonna weave in damage and health funnel, and you're gonna be on the pet a bit longer. You just need to play good with dispels. You don't want to fall behind. Like this is something you never want to see, by the way. Like you don't want to be like this far behind against on dispel. And actually pay attention to your globals. Like here, this holy shock was not necessary because the LL was,
Yeah.
you know, almost full HP.
Yeah.
Dispel this flame shock instead.
Yeah.
Opt for dispel after. I would freedom the warrior here, so we don't fall behind. You do good. Next global should be dispel. What I like to do, by the way, is do you even use focus frame? I guess you don't. Do you? But
Um.
I like.
Yeah. Sometimes I do.
So I have the warlock on focus always, so I can see who he's casting on, so I can pre-dispel immolate. That's what I do.
Okay.
But since you don't have that, you just have to like try to think who he's casting immolate on.
No,
Like
that's a
hypothetically, let's
good
say he's casting on a yeah,
that's a good point.
like yeah, like I would have the full warlock on focus, and I could see, let's say he cast on the warrior, and I would already smash that fucking dispel by the warrior.
Okay.
I would make sure do everything I can to keep the warrior clean, right? So you don't
That's
fall
a good
behind.
idea. Yeah, it's a really
Because
good
you don't
idea.
want to be in a situation where they have like 5, 6 debuffs onto your guy, and then you're at a situation where it's not worth dispelling because it's unlikely that you're gonna get the good shit off, you know?
That's what happens to me. Like I
Yeah.
sometimes abandon. I stop dispelling because I just get like there's so many
You get
buffs.
garbage. You get like
Yeah,
a corruption or Shadowbolt debuff, the Shadowbolt
yeah,
Toxic or Judgment or fucking Earthbound Slow or Frost Shock, you know, you get garbage off instead of getting Immolate or Flame Shock, so it's like barely even worth it.
yeah,
So you don't want to fall behind, you know, on Dispel. Like here it looks like you're spam dispelling your Ele or some shit, even though they're going your warrior, as you can see from the Immolate. So this was like a big error of like just global CD usage. Like had you had like a warlock on focus, or you had used like some way to like know that the warlock is targeting the warrior, you could like pre-display your warrior, and you most likely would have the warrior clean all this time. You would have proc sacred cleansing, and they would be like, you know, fucked.
yeah.
Now it's like, you know, it's not still not too bad. He has 3 debuffs, and you have sacred cleansing, and you're critting everything, so you're happy. Life is good. With this crit, I would probably put like sacred shield and then the fall hot, but you just use the fall instead without sacred shield.
Yep.
Like you definitely had time to, you know, like after this crit, you didn't need to use this fall, you know, like your guy's full HP, but you
Yeah.
used the fall insta
Yeah.
because of sacred shield fall and small rotational things you wanna paying attention to.
Okay.
And when it comes to using Blade Storm, it's like there's like if you go Warlock or doesn't matter what you go, you always want to try to play Storm when it hits multiple people, even even if you're not even planning to go on the other guy, because from LSP POV, the Pala is like panicking. He's like, oh, I need to top this Ella, I need to top myself, I need to top the pet. So in case swap happens, you know. What often happens TC against LSP is that like you're blading on the lock. Ella is next to you, right? He's dropping to like 70%, 60% from the blade. He gets big deep wounds on himself. But Warlock is also dying same time. Pala pops a pop on the fucking Warlock. You insta go on the Ella with like a fat deep wounds on him, half HP, and you killed Ella. Same
Okay.
time, like same go. You know, like just something to I guess keep in mind, but that's more for your warrior, I guess. Doesn't really matter for you.
No, for sure. And I'm gonna hit you up and have my warrior message you too, um,
Yeah,
for coaching.
yeah, I can. Yeah, I can ask. I'll ask either Torsten or Razel if they want a VOD review.
Okay. Oh,
If
that'd
they
be
don't,
cool.
then I can do it myself. I can do it myself as well, but might as well have like somebody who's
Yeah.
been playing Warrior Classic. I haven't played Warrior Classic, so I'm not as up to date like what works, what doesn't
Yeah.
from Warrior Pool. But yeah, just message me and then I'll forward.
Okay. I
By the
learned
way,
I
sometimes
learned this from you to stand next to the warlock portal. Um, but I don't
it,
think we made it effective this game.
yeah, I mean it's situational. So offensively, it's good to stay next to Warlock Portal, but if you're the one team who's behind, you don't want to do this, right?
Okay.
Because like if you have all the pressure in the world, yes, stay here. If you're behind on CDs or you don't have bubble or you know they have like all the CDs in the game, it's not good to stay here because he will pour. It's very situational because if you're here and you're behind, you don't have bubble or something, he can just offensively port at some point on top of you. Shadow Fury, Immolate, Conflag, Coil, you die. You know what I mean? Like it's situational. It's not like I always stay next to Warlock Portal rule. But most often than not, it's good because TC actually hard counters LSP this season. So like you shouldn't lose to LSP. Like you're doing something wrong as a team. Obviously, no, I mean one thing that's actually making you also fall behind so easily is that your gear is really bad. You're playing. Do I still have it open? I don't have it open, but I didn't check how much crit you have. But you're missing some crit
I
because
was
you had
at
like MP. You
24.
didn't have. Yeah, 24. I have like 30% crit, so.
Okay,
So
with the gear that I got yesterday, I'm at like 27 without. I'm at
yeah,
27
without
without
any
Ellie
buffs.
Shaman, and then with Ellie
Yeah,
Shaman, I'm at like 32.
yeah, yeah. I'm 30% crit without any buffs.
Oh
So
shit. Okay.
like I can show you what gear I kind of have.
Yeah.
Actually, I can't.
I'm so far off from getting the weapon though. Like 3 maces have to drop
Yeah.
before I get the mace.
How come you don't have like any PV Necro clock? Like there's a crit
It's
MP5
bad
neck that's
luck,
good
bro.
to have.
Oh,
Huh?
Holiday's Grace.
Bad luck. Never dropped. Yeah, Holiday's Grace. That's not bad. Like that could be a.
Uh, it drops when I'm not in the raid. It drops when I'm not in the raid, and then because I got banned for 10 to 8 ban, and my guild raided 2 times, and both those raids Holiday's Grace dropped. So yeah, unfortunate.
But yeah, it's like LSP. If you have like Giga Haste, Giga Crit and Spell Power, it's like so much easier to not fall behind.
Yeah.
Because you can afford to dispel more, right? Because you're always critting that holy shock. Your globals are faster. You just more. You're less likely to fall behind on dispels.
Okay.
But like offensively, it wasn't too bad of a game from your team per se. But if nothing is working for you, try the same thing. Go pet. Go pet a lot. But
I like it.
I
It's
I
simple.
need yeah, it's simple, but it's not as it's really good against LSP. Like we do it. We do this like most more than not. We do this. In Dala it doesn't work. In Dala you have to go LA. Dala Arena. Go LA. Scrap it. But in most maps, most situations, you can do it. It's just not as fast. You have to play better, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
No,
Especially
yeah,
you
yeah,
as a
it
Pala.
makes sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whereas against LSD, it's more about your LS stopping those initial clones. You know,
I
the
told
initial
my
clones
team
cannot.
too. I was like, dude, like if I got better gear, like we would win half these games. And like just it felt so bad,
Yes, yes.
you know.
Yeah, your
So
gear is bad. Your gear is very bad. Like
okay,
you are doing like big mistakes. So like
yeah,
when it
yeah.
comes to like global CD usage
Oh,
and
for
like
sure. Yeah, my
dispelling
globals are
the wrong
bad.
target, like on the opener, you were dispelling the LN. I'm not like watching every single global you do, but like I'm assuming throughout the game you're doing wrong decisions when it comes to dispelling.
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah, for sure. My
Like
globals are bad.
dispelling the wrong guy. Because it's like it's important to keep the target clean that you think that they are gonna go on. Like if you didn't think they're gonna swap on your LA, you already wanna start pre-displaying him, you know,
Yes.
before the immolate even lands.
And
So
a
it's like
good
clean
way
when it lands.
and a good way of knowing who they want to hit is targeting or focusing the
Having
warlock.
focus in the warlock, yeah, and
Okay.
then target from the warlock. That's what I do
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
It's like, well, I
Cool.
guess that was the last game. I can show
Yeah.
you my gear
Yeah, please.
as well, so you have like something to dream about. This is probably my best gear, Pala.